Live. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast, where hustle meets strategy, and it's also going to meet souls. Today, our guest is Rachel S. Krueger, a life coach, grief guide, and the powerful voice behind Wild Widow Woman. She helps people navigate life's hardest transitions with honesty, heart, and deep healing. Whether you're going through a loss, transition, or just a reminder to breathe again, this episode is going to speak to you. Let's get into it. Hi, Rachel. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Jonathan. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. So, I don't know if I introduced us. This is JP and this is PJ. Anyways, so you're doing great, Rachel. Let's get
Yes.
into the questions. Let's get into it. So,
Excellent.
let's see. What was the moment in your life that led you to this type of work?
Um, Becoming a widow. So when losing
Mhm.
my husband a little over 9 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So could you elaborate? Okay, what happened when you lost your husband? What was your life's identity?
That's one of the biggest focuses for me about. That's so funny that you said that. Through my whole journey has been my identity. I was a stay-at-home mom, and then I was a yoga teacher mom, and
Mm-hmm.
he provided life, I provided the lifestyle, and we were that suburban family. I mean, we had, two kids and a house in the suburbs and a minivan and all the things, and so my identity was wrapped up in, the family and the unit and all that was out there, when we lived out there. Losing him, or when he died rather. He's not lost. I know, I know where he went. But when he died, it affects more than just. I mean, the primary loss obviously is losing the husband, and then there's a Venn diagram. I should have pulled it up or sent it to you before, but there are 8 things that touch that in 2 different circles.
Mm-hmm.
So it touches everything from your finances to your social status to your identity as a wife, mother, daughter in some cases. I mean, I was widowed at 48 years old, 47, I beg your pardon. I turned 48 that year. I was 47 when Steve died,
Mm-hmm.
and, my mom is not a widow. So I didn't have a lot of, in my immediate family, I didn't have a lot of support. Now, my mother-in-law was. So I had support from her, which was great. But it was everything around that. My identity shifted from the wife, mother, sub-provider to being, I'm a single widowed mom of 2 teenage girls, and I'm a yoga teacher, yo. I just didn't, I didn't think I had the wherewithal to do it. I really didn't. It took me a long time to learn to believe in myself about it. I mean, I had vast, wild dreams and aspirations, as you know, because you and I go back a bit, but it's taken me a while to get to a place where I could get the rubber to meet the road and start putting action behind what I wanted to do.
So, how has your own experiences with grief shaped your coaching style?
Well, it's caused me to listen. This is actually, I love to talk, so this is actually great, but it's caused me to take a different perspective and listen, and listen with intention for certain key things, and what do I hear when they're talking versus about just their words. What's the underlying theme about it or whatever. But it has shaped how I relate with people, because my identity, it always does come back to, I'm a widow now. So although, I mean, yes, grief is my specialty, and I can walk anybody through, whatever stages, knowing, of course, that they're not linear and that we experience them multiples at a time sometimes. All of those, different bullet points that they give us with, the anger, the denial, and all that. But people that are in transformation and people that are just really desiring transformation, because I can relate so deeply with that as a result of my loss, I'm able to work with other groups of people.
So, listening, there's a quote or there's a saying, we have two ears, one mouth.
For a reason.
So, the way you put two ears together, it actually will make the shape of the heart.
Yeah.
So, this is a quick jewel. If you want to get to somebody's heart, you have to listen twice as more as you talk.
Yeah.
So, what does sacred self-care look like in you in the real life?
Well, it's taken on a bunch facets that I didn't know even existed, to be quite honest.
Okay.
Sacred self-care, and I refer to that as it is the sacred self, and it is the care of that sacred self. Because there's a lot of talk about, self-care Sunday, taking a bath or having your glass of wine, or I'm just going to sit in my jammies and read a book today, or that's, or eating a donut. That's some good self-care. But self-care is also learning to manage your finances, being fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. The ability to manage your own emotions is self-care. The ability to be introspective, but at the same time not have to make anything outside of you about you. Those things don't come without stillness and quiet. I'm a big proponent of meditation and journaling.
Okay.
So that's where my foundation is, as far as where my growth comes from. My life changed literally on a dime when I started meditating.
So that's the secret sauce, I see.
It is for me. It's and I don't do the the silent meditations. I do guided meditations, and I am an impatient gal. So, learning frugality and learning, controlling mental states and emotional states and that kind of thing is a challenge for me, because I like those results right now. I'm a big fan of instant gratification.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Right, PJ?
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you help all these widowers, I assume. How do you stay grounded yourself?
I spend a lot of time meditating, and I have a personal therapist, and I'm also a huge proponent of walking. I don't know if you know who Mel Robbins is. She's on Instagram. She's been around a long, long time, but her book is Let Them, I think that's the name of it. Anyway, I'd have to look it up. I don't want to start quoting stuff and be all wrong and stuff, especially on the air. Anyway, but she talks about walking first thing in the morning, even if it's just like 10 or 15 minutes. Because what it does is it forces the hemispheres of your brain, the right and left hemispheres of your brain, to work together. So it's the perfect time to get your creativity going.
I love creativity.
I know you do, honey. So that is first thing in the morning. Is I study the Bhagavad Gita. I spend an hour doing that. That's a lot of where my groundedness comes from, as I've begun studying Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta, and then when that's done, then I put on some clothes and I go out and I walk. And again, I'm not there to count steps. I'm not getting steps in. I'm not there to create a pace. I'm not, I have no destination. I'm literally just, what I try to do is I try to think of whatever is perplexing me for the day. What lies, like today, it was the podcast. I want to make sure that I do a good job for you guys, and support you the best that I can. And obviously I'd love to get some benefit from it, but that's secondary in nature to me. But regardless, so in my mind I'm thinking, as I'm walking, it's like you can almost feel the hemispheres of your brain start to work together and start to find those answers, because we have the answers to all of our questions. We don't sit still long enough to get them. And that's where, higher self meditation and journaling and all that comes in.
What's a common myth about grief?
Oh.
You love to bust wide open?
Oh, goodness. That you get over it. That you get through it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no through. Grief is a lifelong companion.
Okay. So
and some, think about, even if it's just your grandmother, that's not a grief that you get through, you know, or even if it's like your favorite aunt or uncle that you've grown up with or whatever, and you lose them at a young age, you're gonna carry that memory. That's carrying the grief with you in some capacity. Grief isn't always heavy, but I would love for people to know that, you know, especially for widows and widowers, that it's not something we're ever through. I will God, if I'm not talking about Steve till the day I die, it would be a crime. He was way too good a soul.
And how long was your marriage for with him?
We would have celebrated 18 years the year he died. And we had been together for 2 years longer than that. So we were together for about 20 years total. And we weren't kids. I mean, I was 28, he was 38 when we met. I was 29, or actually 27 and 37. Yeah. And then, I mean, I watched him turn 40. He watched me turn 40. And he was only 57 when he died, 56. He would have turned 57 that year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the same age he was when he died. That's so weird for me.
So, you know, I've got a question. As I understand it, you've got a YouTube channel and a few social medias called the Wild Widow, Wild Woman.
Widow Woman, yeah.
Wild Widow Woman.
I have a feeling there's a story there, yeah.
I was like, you know, that was one of my questions. You know, why is it that hard to say? Along with
Wild Widow Woman.
It's catchy.
It's catchy. And then what's, like, you know, the story behind the name?
I went off the rails. It took me. I ran like hell from everything it meant to be a new widow for the first, I don't know, 4.5, 5 years after Steve died. Was I in therapy? Yeah. Was I doing all the right things? I mean, yeah, I was. Was I making some really bad choices at the same time? Yeah. I'm not going to get real graphic or specific. He knows how I lived. But, and I don't know, there's no judgment or anything like that. I literally went off the rails. I wasn't, without self-bashing or being self-deprecating, I wasn't the mom that I would have liked to have been. I wasn't there for my kids like I would have liked to have been. I allowed things to happen that I would do differently today. I could count on one hand how many regrets I had before Steve died. Literally 2. 1, 2. I could count them. I knew what they were, specifically. After he died, countless. I mean, innumerable. To the moon and back, because I didn't know, my identity was so wrapped up. I didn't know who I was anymore and who I was supposed to be, because I took off my wedding ring inside the first year because it felt like a lie to me, and it didn't occur to me until well into the second year that I was behaving like I had come out of a breakup. And I mean, when you think about the bitterness that goes along with that sometimes, and vengeful behavior where you act out and that kind of thing, that's the kind of shit that I did. Oh, sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It don't matter.
Okay, good.
It's above 18 anyway.
Okay, good.
Good. Judge-free zone.
Okay, good. So, I went wild. I went a little wild. And, I guess it was September of last year. September 1st of last year, I started meditating. I came across this guy on Instagram, and I am going to shout him out. His name is Yogi Brian, and his podcast, or his channel on there is It's Just Fucking Meditation. And I watched him. I watched a video of a guy leading a meditation on Instagram, and I just found that really odd. I was like, what am I doing? This is weird. But I was really drawn to the fact that he swears, and I swear a lot. So I kind of related to it that way. But he just made it super simple. And he was like, dude, all that meditation is really is awareness. It's just awareness. And yes, there is an ultimate goal to it of where you want to be with awareness. But the journey is beautiful. And just becoming aware of, the very first thing, your breath. Most people aren't even aware that, all the times that we breathe in a day, much less it's the fact that your heart beats, some 30,000 times for you every single freaking day. And just to take that awareness and stillness, that's when the answer, that's what I mean when I say we have all the answers. But we're just not still enough from time to time, get still from time to time to listen and hear them.
A lot of women that are married, more of their identity is in that role of being
Yeah.
the housewife, the house mom.
Or even if they're a corporate corporate, they can even just be a partner,
Right.
a household partner. The identity and the construct behind marriage, and I met my husband in church, so I had to come from a Christian background. That is not, it's not a faith construct that I claim today, although I don't deny it either. It's just not something that it's just not something I claim. But I met my husband in church, so I have a pretty deep I have a pretty deep understanding of Scripture and all the fundamentals behind it, and that too becoming one thing is pretty clear. Steve was married prior to being married to me. No children in that marriage, but he was married for 2 years out of college and got divorced. And as a result of that, he had a passion for divorce care and led divorce care for some 20 years. But one of my favorite descriptions of divorce was taking a paper towel and ripping it down the middle. You can try and put that thing back together all you want to, but you're just never going to be the same. It's never going to look the same. It's never going to feel the same. It's never going to behave or act the same. That paper towel is forever altered. And so he had a passion behind that, and I think it kind of leached into me. I watched him, and that is exactly the passion that I have for widows today. Exactly.
So it's a question for you and all the other widowers. So when what was I gonna say? Do you think that widowers lose a part of themselves?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, without a doubt. It's interesting because my first, on the podcast, on the Wild Widow Woman podcast, I've done a couple of interviews, one featuring a death doula, her name's Beth Montgomery, and the other one featuring Dr. Andrea Hill. She's also, her handle is the Fight Doctress on Instagram. Now, Dr. Hill, Andrea, is a widow as well, and she was widowed shortly after I was. I was widowed 9 years ago in March. She was widowed 9 years ago this month, actually. I think her anniversary was like this week. And I bring that up. I lost my train of thought. I brought it up because she purposed in her recovery. Her identity was different, and whatever you are in the marriage, that is what you obviously are going to struggle with after you lose somebody. So my identity in the marriage was, we used to joke about the term Holy Spirit. When you break it down, there's some verbiage that suggests that it says the brains behind the bunch, or no, it's the counselor. That's what it was, the counselor, which is what the woman is in the relationship, and the brains behind it. We got the brains, we got the brawn, and he's the visionary, and I was the details behind the brains and all that kind of thing. And we coming out of that, it's like, what do I support?
Because hey, I'm the head and you're the neck.
I ain't got nothing to turn.
and I can't turn my head without a neck.
Yeah.
So.
And it made my actions feel pointless. It made my actions feel really pointless and purposeless. It took a long time for me to find some purpose in my life again. And the meditation led me to the coaching, which I know without a doubt is my purpose. I know that I'm called to heal widows, but I.
So tell me a story about you coaching a client or helping someone get through the experience that you have went through.
Oh. Gosh, I get to do that pretty regularly with my mom. My mom was widowed shortly after I was.
Okay.
Like 3 years ago. So I
walk us through it.
Well, it's harder with my mom because I can see what needs to be done, but there's a whole backstory there too. I should probably choose something different then. Let's skip it then.
Let's go with a non-related client.
Yeah. Well, let's see. For instance, I actually am working with somebody right now whose father has been in the hospital, not dying, or it wasn't looking good, wasn't sure. And I was just in that mode of kind of coaching that way, like it might happen, but keeping positive, reserved on it. We call that cautiously optimistic. It's like my least favorite phrase in the medical industry in the world now. Anyway, so but she's struggling with a family member in the hospital, and and the family members around that, how they relate is not necessarily great. Mm-hmm. Clock that to when my dad was in the hospital, and I'm fortunate. I don't know if we call it fortunate or just the fluke of nature or whatever, or fate, but I was fortunate enough to have two dads. I had the one that birthed me, the one that raised me, and the one that raised me is the one that died a couple of years ago. And there was a family situation, and I wouldn't go to the hospital. And just knowing how that affected me and all of my feelings around that, and watching her go through very similar situation. I don't offer any advice per se. I will give adage, just saged wisdom, like stay inside your hula hoop kind of stuff, just mind your own business kind of thing. But I'm not going to tell her what to do. What I am going to do is I'm going to give her the freedom, the permission, and the space. I'm going to hold space for her to feel it. And do, my favorite thing to do with clients is pull it out of them. Tell me more.
Okay, so you're giving them that support. You're being there for them in that space.
Right. And really trying to get more out of it for them. Pull more out of it for them so that they can process it, because oftentimes when we start to feel, I know for me, there's a stigma around grief. I think I said, mm-hmm. People want you to get over it. They don't think, and spontaneously crying in public is not necessarily a socially acceptable thing to do. And it does happen. I mean, they just, water spurts out your eyes sometimes, and giving yourself permission to do that without feeling bad or guilty or holding back or whatever, telling your body, okay, I see you being sad, I feel you being sad, and then acknowledge it, and then move through it, rather than stuffing it away, because guess what, not dealing with it then, it's gonna come back. Yay.
So, you say, grief doesn't just disappear. Do you think people that say, the grief disappeared, they're just hiding it somewhere behind
Absolutely.
Something else?
Absolutely.
How do you think, would be, the best way to confront that?
Interesting that you should say that. Actually, it was a part of an online community on the school platform, and a guy, he joined the death doula, Beth. She had a community on there, had being the operative word, but he actually joined specifically because he wanted to learn how to grieve in a healthy way. He had lost many significant people in a short period of time. Like in 5 years, he'd lost 6 people or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And just a random odd amount like that, right? And he said, I just don't find that I'm feeling it, but he knows that it's there. But he's willing to be open to letting it surface. He just doesn't, he finds it odd that he has no expression of grief, that he doesn't process it. So at least he's aware of it.
So my next question, if grief was a soundtrack, what song would people be shocked to hear on it about you? Is there a particular song you have in mind? Just let it out. Come on now.
I Like It Heavy by Hellstorm.
Okay.
I'm assuming you know what that is.
He doesn't.
I haven't heard that song. So, number one, we have different audiences.
Yeah. That's one. I actually compiled many a playlist when things were first starting, when things first started to devolve for me. I think we all relate in a way to music. You know, it's a really healing thing. And finding solace in that. But that definitely is one.
That's the number one soundtrack for you?
No, probably not the number one.
Well,
but I heard it in the car on the way over here, so it's right off the top of my head for sure. Oh, I'm trying to think.
Well, if that comes up, let us know. What's a guilty pleasure that makes you feel totally alive, other than eating chocolate and donuts
and sugar?
Ice cream.
Ice cream, or you scream?
Ice cream.
Okay, ice cream.
Ice cream.
What flavor?
Well, okay, so I actually have this kind of quirk that I'm doing right now. I am pairing ice cream and wine.
Oh, I've heard of that. They mix it into the...
No, you just drink it and eat it, and they go together. They just go together. So, like, chocolate is really good with a red. Depends on your preference of red. Pinot Noir is my preference. My personal favorite right now happens to be a white chocolate raspberry cheesecake ice cream by Baskin Robbins, specifically.
You got it down to a science.
And a sparkling rosé.
Oddly specific.
Oh, I've spent some time on this, can you tell?
So,
yeah, that's my guilty pleasure right now. That and I am a Netflix junkie. I am.
Awesome. We're gonna go to rapid fire.
Oh, damn.
You get a billboard in Times Square. What does it say?
What do you want it to say?
What do I want it to say?
Yeah.
Oh, Wild Widow Woman.
Well, World War III, the Wild Widow Woman.
Wild Widow Woman.
Would that be it?
Wild Widow Woman, yeah.
All right.
When there's a website, it would have a .com after it. I think that would be cool. www.com.
Okay. A book you always go back to.
Book I always go back to. Are you talking like
Anything.
Rapid fire, yeah.
Oh. When I read fiction, I always go back to Daughter of Smoke and Bone.
Dinner with 3 women, dead or alive. Who would you choose?
Eleanor Roosevelt,
Okay.
Betty Ford, Michelle Obama.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I love their First Lady stories. They were actually, the 3 of them were actually featured in a show called First Ladies. And that's just, I'm getting chills. They have extraordinary stories. Being the first African-American family in the White House, is a huge story, obviously. Betty Ford, we all know she was a recovering alcoholic after they left office. And Eleanor Roosevelt was lesbian. And they have extraordinary stories, and I just those would be the women.
So,
now, what's one thing that you want your listeners to remember about healing?
To be patient and be gentle with yourself. Always be gentle with yourself. This, baby steps always. Doesn't matter how long the healing has been happening. It doesn't matter if it's been 9 months, 9 weeks, 9 years, 9 decades. It really doesn't matter. Always be gentle in the healing process. Your brain only brings to mind those things that you are capable of healing. That's why we suppress memories. Our brain suppresses memories to protect us. So be gentle.
Where can people find you, and where can they find your work?
I am on Instagram. I am rls.krueger. I haven't changed the name to Wild Widow Woman because I've had the account for so long, and I just haven't. I'm on TikTok at X-Ray Files, and it's XRAEFILES. I am on Spotify, Wild Widow Woman podcast. I have Sacred Self Shorts, and I have Sacred Self Meditations. I am also on YouTube. My item?
Well,
You can do both. You can do both. Yeah, we have extra time now.
Oh, we do?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So Rachel, we had you
Bring. Oh. What happened?
That was mine. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. Making sure it wasn't me.
So Rachel, we had you bring one item that meant something meaningful to you.
Yeah.
What did you bring?
I brought my journal. As I said, I'm a huge proponent of journals, and although I've kept many over the years, this one has been by far the best one I've ever invested in, and it was $20. These pages, I sew them in. This is my 4th set to sew in, and there's something about hand making one's own journal that makes you use it. I write in it all the time. I mean, I write, what any thoughts that I would like out of my head goes in here.
That right there is the Bible of Rachel.
It is. It is, and I've got little sub packs of this in the drawer at home. So yeah, that's my meaningful item. I actually had the other one was that's Steve. That's his ashes.
Wow.
Oh, you had it wounded in?
It's a pendant. It's an urn.
Oh,
There's ashes in the urn.
that's fun.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Oh.
My girls have one. They each have one as well.
Well, I'm out of questions, but I want to thank you, Rachel, for coming on to the Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
This was a powerful message. I want to thank you hugely, showing up with a little vulnerability, some wisdom and truth. Hopefully you will be able to share this out to your community as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
We will put her information into the descriptions where you can contact her at for those who are dealing with some transformative things, needing help going through loss, want to breathe again. She's provided herself with all of her information. So thank you. Let's stay grounded.
Yep.
And let's continue to grow.